some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, oh, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks.
Instead, this case could go forward, and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public. This presents a very difficult situation because unlike Sean Combs, Jay-Z doesn't have the opportunity to say that he's being charged criminally and that this civil case should be paused. Instead, this case could go forward and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Jay-Z has been famously married to Beyonce for 16 years. They have 3 children together. Today, Jay-Z denying all allegations, saying in part, "My only heartbreak is for my family," adding, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?" These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. His attorney is quickly taking his rebuttal to court, filing a motion to deny the accuser's request to remain anonymous or dismiss the lawsuit, calling it a cynical and calculated campaign to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money.
There are a number of reasons as to why a defendant would ask that a plaintiff be named in a civil lawsuit such as this. They may simply say that getting the name and the time and place of when something occurred would better allow them to prepare for a defense. The other, probably less benign reason is oftentimes when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether. So it could be a tactic to try to get the lawsuit dropped.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward.
This recent revelation stems from one of at least 7 civil lawsuits against Sean Combs filed in October by attorney Tony Busby, all of which allege Combs dozens of victims for over 2 decades.
What shocked me most was that it was going on openly in front of other people.
Jay-Z and Tony Busby. Tony Busby, who's representing the Jane Doe against Jay-Z and Diddy, is now claiming that Jay-Z's legal team, again alleging this, that Alex Spiro, is the Jay-Z's lawyer, is out there sending investigators. Here was what he said. Investigators from New York have called many of our law firm's current and former clients. What they didn't anticipate was one of the clients decided to record the conversation. It's shocking and illegal. Here's a portion taken from the transcript. In a couple of days, or maybe by next week, anyone Googling Busby and his company, his practice, are going to get into litigation, okay? What we're trying to do is we are trying to put this thing together for the company that we're working for. We could get you paid. You could get money right soon, you know? We gave this kid $1,000 to start yesterday just to get him on the right path. At the end of the day, this is going to go through the courts. Busby is getting sued. These guys are on tape offering to pay clients to sue our law firm. That's a crime. Now, he shares this photo on his Instagram with sort of the same message. Now, there are comments disputing this. I can't confirm or deny any of this. This top comment, Busby's hired these guys. I've seen the middle dude. I don't know if this is true. But again, it just goes to show I don't know who to believe or what's going on, because as all of this is going down, which seems pretty awful if true, especially if he's got audio tape confirming it, are they actually connected to Jay-Z's legal team? That's going to be the big question. Everyone will say they are, but are they actually? Tony could have hired them. Anybody could have hired them. That's what's so problematic. Diddy's team could have hired them to try to get Jay-Z more intertwined. Who knows? At the same time, Tony Busby is also being accused of coercing one of the women who stepped forward after calling the phone number to basically change the story. And then when they didn't, they got dropped. Here's Megan Cuniff, who's a good reporter on all this, a declaration from one of Carter's lawyers that somewhat ironically says the woman wants to remain anonymous because she fears retaliation from Busby. As this breaks down, she, the law firm rep is, serving the affidavit declaring under penalty of law that yes, this woman came in. She said that she told Busby the story. Busby wanted it to be, how does Sean Combs connect? When she said Sean Combs doesn't connect, but it was a separate trafficking case, Busby sort of wanted her to include Combs. When she wouldn't, they said they weren't interested. And that's why the woman stepped forward, because she felt this is not good for actual victims. So look, we got two opposing legal issues. Both sound extremely.
According to your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs. That act alone, according to your lawsuit, left you in considerable pain. And then once inside the vehicle, your lawsuit says plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. And it goes on to say that he you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was beyond belief.
All right, seeing as Elizabeth Wagmeister, who's doing really amazing reporting on this subject, is here with your exclusive. What was it like to sit down with this man?
You know, John, this was the first time that he has told anyone other than his attorneys this story. He, as you see, we concealed his identity. He filed his lawsuit back in October as a John Doe. He says that he wants to keep his anonymity because he wants to keep some semblance of his life private. But that's a difficult thing to do, to sit down and tell your story to a stranger as a journalist. So I asked him, why now? Why are you coming forward now? And he said that he did not know that there were other accusers of Sean Combs out there. He only found out from seeing news reports. And there was one report he saw that there is somebody who alleged that they were 9 years old when they say that they were by Sean Combs. And this John Doe that I sat down with, he said, if a 9-year-old could do it, then I could do it. And it made him feel like he wished that he spoke out before, because he could have prevented children from allegedly being. Now, as I said, this lawsuit was initially filed back in October of this year, so these claims are not new, but this is the first time that he sat down. In fact, John, this is the first time that any accuser of Sean Combs has sat down with the media for
It's now being talked about louder than ever. I guess, does that give you some peace to know that people are finally really questioning this man?
It's emboldening me. I spoke on Pierce Morgan. I said that I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now. So this is great because he's been evading. But the thing is, everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Pierce Morgan.
Is Beyonce Celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around. And she's very... She's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry.
Well,
what I
look,
will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
She knows. She knows.
I want to give you props, though, because on your channel, which I want to plug, you Jaguar Right Effect, you guys can support it. You posted last night, your first response was reposting the unedited Pierce Morgan interview, which I found very ballsy and very telling. And again, this is where it all came from, where Pierce Morgan was scared by Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, proving they are watching and they're being litigious. I got to watch my back, Jaguar. I appreciate you
That's fine.
getting that. And, I don't want to lose my platform. I can't afford
God,
Alex
no.
Spiro.
I wouldn't want that for anyone. I don't want anyone to lose their platform.
He's good. He's good, too. Right or wrong.
He's real good.
What I wanted to take this video for is we're going to have Jaguar live tomorrow around 4 p.m. Eastern. She's coming back for a long-form conversation. We're going to hear plenty. If you got questions, come ask them. Jonas, tomorrow, hit the subscribe. Jaguar, I want to do a victory lap for you here. I want to say, because people say you're being crazy, but the reality is I think you were onto something before a lot of us, specifically about Jay-Z. And there are some clips I want to watch with you, particularly one of Rihanna that really freaked me out. This clip, guys, if you haven't seen it, which I hadn't seen it until this morning when I saw this headline, Kim found it for me. Let's watch this clip quickly.
It's crazy
Let's
that you
watch
haven't
Tyra
seen
pushing to get this out of Rihanna, and when it does, man, it made me feel very, very uncomfortable.
Audition, but before I met him, I was so nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yeah, then I had to sing. I sang Fun to Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
Yeah. So what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he said it whole
I did a lot of work on you this
He
lady.
said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar? He threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth. And she was a kid at that time, correct?
A 15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and there's
This
the
is her
rumors,
life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was
Very much
17
so.
is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
Have
had
you
to
spoken
apologize.
to my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Honda Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like they it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around and she's it's cool.
Is that why this happened? Do you have any insight on this infamous elevator video where Solange was seen just unloading on him? Beyonce's there as well.
What I will say is, right there, that's the moment when he told her to back up and called her Tito Jackson.
But respect. I love to Tito Jackson, who we just lost recently.
I know. Tito
Legend,
could never get a break. He's the nicest guy.
But here, yeah, Jay-Z trying to mimic, she's not worthy, she's nobody, is what he's trying to do.
Pretty much, is what he pretty much said to her. But the thing is there was infidelity that was happening that night. Both of them got caught doing things they weren't supposed to do. I believe there might have been some DV that happened. And people who know Mr. Carter knows he doesn't have a problem with putting his hands on his wife.